Welcome back. Here with us on Mirror Now, and we here are trying to help you decode Budget 2022. I'm Hina Gambhir. With me is my colleague Avni Raja, and we are trying to decode what were the specific announcements for specific sectors and what it really means for you, the people of this country. In fact, it was one of the shortest budget speeches of Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. It was there for only 1 hour and 30 minutes. But the big takeaway was that there was no tax relief, no direct tax relief really that came for the middle class, for the salaried taxpayers, because that's something that many were looking forward to. Centre maintained the tax slabs the way they were last year, while seeking to steer the economy from India at 75 to India at 100. The finance minister has said the government is focusing on a production-linked incentive scheme. And Avni, apart from that, the big highlight was a very sharp spike in the capital expenditure of the government for the next financial year to about 7.5 odd lakh crore rupees.
Yes, absolutely. That was one of the big highlights there as far as the budget speech was concerned. But like you said, a lot of disappointment because nothing really was announced for, the middle class and for any kind of tax incentives. But let's shift gears a little bit. Joining us right now is Yogendra Yadav, Chief Swaraj India at this point in time. Thank you very much for speaking to us and joining us on Mirror Now. Your reaction to the budget. In fact, I was just going through some of your tweets. You've outlined the way the allocation towards agriculture has reduced this time round, and also you've called it as a revenge for by the government for the movement, successful movement that the farmers led.
What else do you call it? Earlier, in a 90-minute speech, the finance minister had exactly, I think, 2.5 minutes to say about agriculture, completely inconsequential talk, nothing serious, no announcement of allocations. Earlier in the budgets, the finance ministers used to, give a lot of dialogues for farmers. Some schemes were announced ritually every time. There was very little allocation. This time, little allocation, and I'll just come to that. No major scheme announcement and no dialogues either. Clearly, the government, the finance minister looked unhappy. I think she had clearly made up her mind. You don't need to bother about farmers. This was anger, revenge. The government, which has been defeated by farmers' movement, in a way which the government finds humiliating. I don't know why. Why should the Prime Minister feel humiliated by farmers? I mean, they can take action against activists like me, but why take revenge against the farmers? It wasn't clear. When I looked at the figures, and I keep saying, and you would agree with me, that budget is not about speechifying. Budget speech is not poetry. It should be judged by only one yardstick, namely allocations. How much money have you allocated for what? And listen to me carefully now. For agriculture and allied sector, the overall allocation last year, same government, was 4.26% of the budget. This has been slashed to 3.84%, nearly 0.5% drop. And as you can understand, this is a big drop, amounts to almost 20,000 crore rupees. Rural development, overall allocation last year's budget was 5.59%. This time it's come down to 5.23%. Put agriculture and rural development together, and you're talking about nearly 40,000 crore rupees cut on these two sectors. It's a clear cut, not even inflation maintenance. Look at specific schemes. Manreka, the actual expenditure, and I'm not speaking of budget, the revised estimate, which is actual money spent by the government last year, was 97,000 crore rupees. And what is the allocation this year? 72,000 crore rupees. Substantially less than what the government has spent this particular year. Go by Prime Minister's Fasal Bima Yojana, flagship scheme. They have allocated 16,000 crore rupees last year, nearly spent it all. This time, instead of simply maintaining it by level of inflation, they've actually cut it down to 15,500 crore rupees. PM Kisan Samman Nidhi, notional increase, but less than the inflation rate in the country. There's a scheme for called PSS and MIS, which is basically meant to ensure that farmers the government makes market intervention to ensure farmers get their support price. Last year, the government has actually spent 3,595 crore rupees, about 3,600 crore rupees they have actually spent. What is the allocation this year? 1,500 crore rupees. Arun Jaitley had announced a very ambitious scheme called Asha, which was meant to ensure that farmers are given MSP in the mandis. Allocation kept coming down from 1,500 crore rupees last year to only 400 crore rupees. And this year, believe me or not, the figure is 1 crore rupee to ensure MSP to farmers of this entire country. Government of India is going to give 1 crore, not 1,000, 1 crore rupee for that. This is the joke to which this budget has been reduced. One final
Yogendra
point.
Yadav, okay. Go ahead.
One final point is about the much touted doubling of farmers' income. Remember, the declaration was made in the budget of 2016. 6 years, we will double the farmers' income. Last 5 budgets, every finance minister has gone eloquent about doubling. We will double the income by 2022. Even last year, the finance minister said, we are committed to the target of doubling the farmers' income in 2022. So in 2022 budget, you at least expect a mention of it. You expect a paragraph. You expect an explanation. You expect an account. Not one word about it. Because actually, farmers' income from cultivation is down.
Okay, so we are getting more details as well now as we speak with you. So for agriculture and allied activities, the allocation clearly is higher than what it was last year. That's slightly higher, not too much. But I want to seek your view on the MSP amount that the finance minister quoted, 2.37 lakh crore direct payment to about 1.63 crore farmers for procurement of wheat and paddy. Apart from that, how drones will now be used to help the farmers. How will you like to react to those kind of announcements?
These are completely misleading figures, and allow me to correct you on the allocation for agriculture as well. In rupee terms, it has increased, but these allocations are always seen in terms of percent of budget. In percent budget, it has gone down from 4.26 to 3.84%. On that announcement, much touted, I'm very happy that you mentioned it. The finance minister says, we have given 2.37 lakh crore rupees to farmers for MSP payment. One, it looks like as if the government of India has actually given this much money to farmers. No, it's actually payment for farmers' crops, which is not paid by the government of India. But anyway, the more important fact is that this is less than last year. For precisely these 2 crops, last year the government had actually, the total amount of purchase was 2.48 lakh crore rupees. This year is 2.37 lakh crore rupees. In terms of actual quantity purchased, last year was 1,286 lakh ton. This year it's 1,208 lakh ton. Now tell me, should the finance minister be apologizing to parliament or extolling it as an achievement? In an honest government, you should say, I'm sorry, last year we purchased more. This year we have purchased less. And the following reasons A, B, C are there for that. Instead of that, she actually extols it and expects you to applaud. And half the media in this country actually starts applauding. I mean, such is the state of affairs. On drone, I'm actually very happy that you mentioned drones. Because, if you actually look at allocations, etc., you'll get the real picture. There was a scheme once announced of Kisan Rail. You remember 2 or 3 budgets ago? There was Kisan Rail. Please go and look at how many rails were and what actually happened to that. But come down. I mean, I'm actually very happy about this announcement because earlier the government used to look at the farmer from satellite's point of view. I'm very grateful that from satellite, they have come down to the level of drone. And I'm really, really hoping that one day they will actually come to the ground, to the field, to actually look at the condition of farmers.
All right, Yogendra Yadav, we will leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us with your perspective.